Curious Jon here, and with a new president taking over, there's been a lot of talk and fear about him having access to the nuclear codes. During his campaign, Mr. Trump publicly and consistently stated that he would never want to use the nuclear option and that it would be horrible. Nevertheless, with emerging nuclear issues around the world, people are concerned that from the moment he is sworn in, President Trump has access to the nuclear codes. That made me curious. What exactly are the nuclear codes? How do they work? And should we be afraid? Here's what I found out. From the moment Mr. Trump is sworn into office, he will carry a card with him on which are written numbers known as the gold codes. President Trump will receive the codes prior to being sworn in, and if he follows protocol, he will carry them on his person, probably in his jacket pocket at all times. The code is covered with a red plastic case which must be cracked open and removed to see the actual numbers. The card contains mostly fake codes with only one real code amongst them. The president must memorize the position of the real code so that he knows which one is real when he sees it. The codes don't actually launch any missiles. Their sole function is to identify the president if he calls on a special phone to give an attack order so the generals know it is really him. That special phone is located in a briefcase that stays close to the president at all times. The briefcase is known as the nuclear football, a nickname that came from the program that gave rise to the first such briefcase, Project Dropkick. The briefcase weighs about 45 pounds. It has a hard case covered with a leather shell. Inside the briefcase is everything President Trump will need to direct a nuclear strike against a foreign nation. These include a book with retaliatory attack options, a separate book with emergency sites to take the president to in the event of a nuclear attack, a telephone that directly reaches National Military Command Center or in a retaliatory strike situation directly to various airborne command centers. The case is carried around by a military aide to the president whose job is to stay within a few feet of the president at all times. While only President Trump can order a nuclear attack, the order must be confirmed by the Secretary of Defense, whose role is limited to confirming the authenticity of the order. In other words, the Secretary of Defense is only there to make sure that it's really the president giving the order. The presumed scenario is one in which the United States is called upon to suddenly retaliate for a first strike headed towards us. It would happen something like this. Millions of people are enjoying their day in Manhattan when military officials detect incoming nuclear missiles. Military scrambles to confirm the intel, and then they notify the president. His military aide pulls him aside and informs him he must make a decision. At that point, the president has about 4 minutes to decide whether to launch an attack and what attack option to launch. No president has yet been asked to make that virtually split-second call. But one Secretary of Defense received a false confirmation of a nuclear first strike on the United States. He was less than 3 minutes from asking the president to order a counterattack when the error was detected. The president is trained in all of this before he takes the oath of office. Prior to that time, he is given detailed instruction about the gold codes, the nuclear football, the attack options, and how to launch a thermonuclear attack. The United States military is on high alert during the changeover of power between one president and the next, understanding it is a time when a foreign power might try to take advantage of the United States. The new president is prepared to launch a nuclear attack from the moment he is sworn in. The safeguards against a thin-skinned president launching an unnecessary and world-destroying nuclear attack are few, but here they are. First, a nuclear launch is presumed to be defensive. The president will not be alerted of circumstances that might require a nuclear response unless senior military officials have determined such circumstances exist. However, there is no law or constitutional limitation that prevents the president on his own initiative from ordering an attack, defensively or offensively. Second, there is a line of human beings, military officers, between the president's order and actually launching the missiles. Theoretically, all military are trained to disobey clearly unlawful orders and will not launch a nuclear attack that violates the law. However, it is not clear when, if ever, such an attack order would be unlawful. If the president orders a thermonuclear attack on a foreign adversary, is it ever unlawful? The only soldier to ever question how he would evaluate the lawfulness of such an order was immediately dismissed from his position. These minimal checks seem inadequate to protect from a truly overzealous personality who decides to vindictively launch an attack. The question we are left with is whether President Trump is that kind of personality. Being a showman and a strong man is one thing. Being truly insane is quite another. In the end, would any rational person ever unleash the nuclear monster knowing the consequence is guaranteed mutual destruction? I'm Curious John. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. I've got a lot planned for 2017 and you don't want to miss any of it.